This is a story of how this clinic make 54 million ringgit profit and pay millions to their doctors.
Today, we are going to talk about this company that help couples to solve their infertility problems. Alpha IVF. The more baby you make, the more money they earn. That day, I got the chance to visit Alpha IVF Specialist Centre that help people to get pregnant. You can see how doctor freeze woman eggs, shy sia, and can see how they help patients that want to have baby but cannot have baby by putting their egg and sperm together. Hey guys, it's HY, your investing friend. Globally, there's a trend for women to delay getting into marriage because we women are more educated now. We don't need to rely on men to take care of us anymore. So naturally, the birth rate in most countries are dropping. Even for those that are getting married, they're getting married later in life. Like in Malaysia, the average age of marriage goes from 24.7 in 1990 to 28.9 in 2022. So by the time that they want to have baby their egg and sperm quality also drop already. Tak boleh pakai. So the demand for fertility services increase globally. In Alpha IVF, the biggest specialist center that provide fertility services, is riding the wave. Okay, now let's look at what Alpha IVF do and how they make money. This Alpha IVF, they started in 2011. In 2012, Dr. Colin entered the business to grow their specialist center. And fast forward to today, Dr. Colin is the biggest shareholder of Alpha IVF alongside other doctors. This Dr. Colin, very tokong sia. In 1994, he founded TMC Fertility Center. And in 1997, he founded Thomson Hospital. He then listed TMC Life Berhad in 2005. Then in 2010, he sold all his shares in TMC Life and started his new venture in Alpha IVF. So now he became a strong competitor to his previous company. Naughty! Fast forward to today, Alpha IVF got 4 specialist centers. One in KL, one in Penang, one in Selangor, and another one in Singapore. All these centers they focus on in vitro fertilization services, aka IVF. They also got provide other assisted reproductive procedures like IUI, ICSI. But IVF is their most tokong one. The biggest center in Selangor is the one in Kota Damansara one with 14 beds. And the Penang Center one is in Gurney Mall with 10 beds. And then the Singapore one got 6 beds. And soon they will renovate and expand their existing centers with the IPO money. A lot of Alpha IVF patients come from other countries, especially Indonesia and China. In FYE 2024, patients from Indonesia alone contributed over 55 million ringgit to Malaysia centers. This also shows that Malaysia is memang power in the medical tourism industry because the medical services provided in Malaysia is considered very high quality, at the same time affordable. So many foreigners, they love to come into our country to take our medical service and 顺便 cuti Malaysia. While companies like Alpha IVF, they can make a lot of money from medical tourism. Now that Malaysia is offering visa exemption to China and India, and Malaysia is targeted to receive 5 million tourists from China in 2024, it will be interesting to observe the contribution from medical tourism moving forward. In March 2024, Alpha IVF went listing. They raised 116 million ringgit with the plans to expand further. The most important one is this, 72.8 million ringgit to establish new specialist centers, satellites, clinics, and sales offices. Now that Alpha IVF already have 3 centers in Malaysia, Alpha IVF plans to build more specialist centers to increase awareness. The first new center is the KL one, which already started operation since Q1 2024. The second and third new center will start operation in 2025 and 2026 respectively. To start a new specialist center, it costs around 18 million ringgit per center. Damn expensive, This is for local expansion. Alpha IVF, they also plan to expand into other countries, especially their next biggest market, which is Indonesia. They have identified Bali for the new center. Because Bali, they got one region is reserved for health tourism special economic zone. They will spend 17.1 million ringgit to set up the new center in Bali. This new center in Bali will start their operation in 2025. On top of that, Alpha IVF will spend 7 million ringgit to build 4 satellite clinics in Indonesia. The satellite clinic is more for consultation services. The actual procedures and treatment will still be conducted in Penang and KL. Indonesia is not the only market that Alpha IVF is penetrating. The plan is to spend 13.9 million ringgit to set up a new specialist center in Cambodia or Laos. But they haven't decided where yet. Understanding that medical tourism is a big thing in Malaysia and China tourists coming into Malaysia will increase significantly. Alpha IVF will also spend 2.8 million ringgit to set up 2 sales offices in China by the end of 2024. This is to bring China people to their specialist center. In short, Alpha IVF will set up more specialist centers and more sales offices to power their future growth. From 4 specialist centers, they will more than double to 8 specialist centers, 4 satellite clinics, and 2 sales offices in the next 3 years. If everything goes according to the plan, they will surpass their competitor TMC with 6 fertility centers. Now that we already know Alpha IVF plans to grow, let's look at their numbers. They grow a lot since 2020, from 69 million ringgit revenue in 2020 to 168 million ringgit revenue in 2024. Profit also grew from 3.5 million ringgit in 2020 to 54 million ringgit. This is because of few reasons. Number 1, FYE 2021 and 2022 was affected by COVID lockdown. Malaysians also busy making baby at home. Cannot come out, so business affected lor. Not only Malaysia lockdown, other countries also lockdown, so people cannot come into Malaysia. So their revenue contribution from medical tourism dropped a lot, from 45% in FY 2020 to 3.5% in FY 2021. Number 2, Alpha IVF acquired their Penang Center in March 2021. So from 2022 onwards, we can see a spike in the total revenue and profit number. Just now, I also got said, medical tourism is the big thing for Malaysia and also Alpha IVF. So when traveling is back, Alpha IVF results just kaboom! Number 3, government incentives to encourage more babies. Since September 2020, Malaysia government has allowed withdrawal from EPF account 2 for fertility treatment. This has encouraged more people to take up fertility treatment. Besides, our government also introduced tax relief for fertility treatment. We can now get 10,000 ringgit tax relief if take fertility treatment from 2023 onwards. For Singapore that is suffering from very low birth rate, right? The government are even more desperate and emo. So they give more incentive for Singaporeans to have babies. Singapore government will help you pay up to 75% of your fertility treatment under these schemes. Singaporeans can also withdraw up to $15,000 from their MediSave for fertility treatments. So all these policies are very good for Alpha IVF because it is cheaper to take fertility services now. Okay, now let's look at things that I like about Alpha IVF. Number 1, Alpha IVF is in the right industry with increasing demand. More women are getting educated. People are getting married later in life. Lower birth rate, these are huge trends that Alpha can capture. And Malaysia is considered relatively cheap for these services. For example, the cost for you to take IVF in Singapore costs about 10 to 30k in Sing dollar. Malaysia is also 10 to 30k, but it's in ringgit. On top of that, our medical services high quality but cheap price. Number 2, Alpha IVF expansion plan will more than double their current number of centers. If they can successfully increase their brand presence in the field and take on more patients locally and internationally, each center means more sales and profit. So if the expansion plan goes according to the plan, then they will become one of the biggest fertility specialist center group in Southeast Asia. Specialized also mean higher margin and better branding than normal hospital. Okay, now let's look at things that I don't like. Number 1, more centers doesn't mean more patients will just come like that. It also means more cost is involved because need to hire more people and operate more centers. Even though long-term trend, we do expect that demand for fertility service will increase. The question remains, can the demand for fertility services grow faster than the increase in number of centers? This is something that investors need to monitor. Number 2, margin in 2020 is very low because of COVID lockdown and also high admin expense. The medical business is very highly reliant on their professionals like doctors and talents, meaning the business need to spend a lot to train and retain them. You can see high bonus and salaries are given to the management, directors and doctors in the company. For example, in FY 2020, the revenue was considered quite high considering that they only have 2 centers that time. Admin expense was 22 million ringgit. This was much higher than normal. This percentage of admin expense to revenue shows a clearer picture. Because I kepo so I went to find out why. 6 million ringgit of this admin expense is bonus for the directors. Shock Alpha IVF directors. But luckily after this, admin expense already dropped a lot and normalized to a 15% level. After this, Their profit margin also improved a lot to a 32%, which is also one of the highest when you compare to their competitors. Anyway, that's all for today's video. What do you think about Alpha IVF? Let me know in the comment section. Until then, stay safe and stay strong investing. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.